Hi, good evening. It's Sunday, the 3rd of September, and it's day 20 of my 31-day challenge. So welcome. And today I'm going to be talking about storytelling, engaging the power of storytelling. Now, I've been talking for all last week about PEPP talk, my formula for a great speech: purpose, experience, passion, and performance. Well, all of those are essential, and those are the four great elements. But you'll remember when I talked about experience and a little bit when I talked about passion, I brought up the topic of storytelling. And really, this is the essence of great speaking. You need those four elements to create the speech, but the content of the speech, when you actually start putting together the content, it has got to be about stories. Why? Well, we're hooked on stories. We have been for thousands and thousands of years. It's what makes speeches entertaining. It's what we want to hear. Great stories. I was watching Jonathan Ross. Jonathan Ross's talk chat show is back on last night. John Bishop he had there. Mo, I've forgotten his name now. The runner, and they were. The great thing about a chat show, if you look at great chat shows and great chat show hosts, what they're brilliant at doing is getting their guests to tell stories. Graham Norton's very similar. He just prompts people to tell stories. Now, sometimes they're just short anecdotes. Sometimes they're real good stories. Now, what's the difference between an anecdote and a story? I think it's very simple. To me, an anecdote is a short, interesting story, but it lacks the one thing that creates a story is conflict. And I think this is the thing that we've got to think about really carefully. The essence of a great story is that it contains some conflict. And when we're thinking about stories from a speaker's point of view, yeah, I'm going to use lots of anecdotes. I often do. You'll have heard me in all of these talks over the past 20 days. I drop in little anecdotes, things that have happened to me. But the ones that are compelling, the ones that draw you in, and the ones that can become big parts of any speech, the stories, they're much longer. And that, I think, is the real essence of it. Stories are longer. They take time to build. And if you think about stories, they all have conflict in them. Do you know that 90% of all movies, 90% of all movies today, I didn't work this all out, somebody else worked this out, but apparently 90% of all movies today still follow the basic principles of storytelling written down by Aristotle, and that's about 3,500 years ago. So storytelling goes right the way back to the days of the ancient Greeks. And when you think about it, some of the great stories that we think about now, some of the stories that we still replicate in our movies and everything else are stories that were written by the Greeks. The stories of the Greek gods, of Perseus, of Homer's Odyssey, the Jason and the Argonauts, all of these stories still have the same structure. We still use that same structure in Bond movies and war movies and Harry Potter. They all follow the same basic structures. Okay, there are different complicated structures, but the essence of a story is this. Someone wants something, has difficulty getting it. And everybody in the audience, everyone you're talking to, whether that's live or whether you're talking to them online, they're facing difficulties, challenges in their life. If we didn't, we'd shrivel up and die. We have to have conflict. We need those challenges to keep on going. Challenges at work, challenges in our relationships, challenges just in living. We're all facing challenges, and we have to be able to tackle them. The problem is that we don't have the rules. We don't know how to tackle those problems, and we've got to search for answers. And we search for answers by listening to stories about people who have tackled those challenges. And that's what makes good books. That's why we follow these. We look at people facing challenges and hope that we can learn from them so that we can tackle our own challenges. So when you're looking for stories in your speaking, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for moments of conflict. And some of the best places to look, and I said this when I was talking about finding good stories from your experiences, from your passions. Take a look back. Just get back down that timeline and look at all the things that have happened. And what you're looking for are those moments when your life took a new direction. When did you move off? What caused that? Now, it's strange. When I've looked at those things, sometimes they're just minor events. Nothing huge at all. A conversation. Others are quite dramatic. An accident, losing your job, getting married, having babies. Yeah, all of these things were quite big, momentous events which changed your life. After that, life would never be the same. In some way or another, it has changed permanently, and you'll never go back. Now, some of them are massive, dramatic moments, but sometimes it's just a simple, there's been quite a few occasions when I've just been sitting, listening to a speaker, and they've said something. I thought, boom, wow. I tell you, at the moment, I'm currently reading a book called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Now, big book, 67 Principles of Success. When I say I'm reading it, actually, I take the dog for a walk, and we go for about an hour and a half walk. And the reason it's a fairly long walk is because that gives me a chance to listen to a good hour and a half of Jack Canfield's book. So I listen to it. It's being read to me. And then I've got the book at home. I can come back and I can actually look at it in more detail and pick it up. And I've been right the way through the book, and I'm now starting again, going through each of the principles myself. Now, the thing about them all is that, I've been around a while. I've been to so many workshops. I've listened to tapes, and there's very little in Jack Canfield's book that I haven't heard from its original source, or heard it even from Jack himself. But I didn't do it. Some of it I've done, but a lot of the things I just didn't do it. I knew about it, and I'm looking at it and thinking, I'm still not doing that. So I'm listening to that, and a lot of the time I'm listening to people who've overcome challenges, overcome difficulties in their life because they applied one of Jack's principles. So I strongly recommend grab Jack Canfield's Principles of Success. Fabulous book. Summarizes all the personal development material that I've read for the past 40 years, and it's all summarized in one book. And he's given credit to all the people he's drawn it from, but really, really excellent. But again, it's just about remembering. It's all about those stories, people who overcame conflicts. I've struggled to get into the whole idea of live streaming and video, and I'm getting really comfortable with it now. I'm looking at the camera all the time now. I'm beginning to engage with people better, I believe. Anyway, please make a note if you give me some feedback if you're listening in. Love to hear from you. But the important thing is that I have learnt how to get this and how to improve this by watching other people, by listening to people who've had the same problem, and the little techniques and tools that they have used to try to help get through it. Alexa Fisher, really awesome YouTube course if you want a course on how to really get engaged with the camera. And she has a simple tip for engagement with the camera was stick a photograph of somebody right behind the camera so that you have to look at them, so that one of their eyes is where the camera is. And that gets you encouraged to look at a person. I'm looking at this camera now, I'm seeing an eye, and I'm seeing it and treating it exactly the same way as I would when I'm working live with people. So all of these are just simple little tips and tricks that I'm picking up from people as I'm going along. But let's get back to this storytelling. It's so, so important. So look at your life, go all the way back through it. Now, let's just summarize in terms of putting this story together and how you use it. And one of the things that I haven't mentioned yet that you really need to think about is this. What is your message? I talked about that when I was talking about purpose. What's the message in your story? What's the message in your talk? Because when you pick a story that you want to use and you want to engage people with, it needs to be related to the message. And Doug Stevenson, who's probably the best teacher of storytelling I've ever come across, if you want to look online, Doug Stevenson, the story theatre method. And Doug's an ex-actor who talks and teaches mostly professional speakers the art of storytelling, and is excellent at it, brilliant. And it's definitely worthwhile having a listen to his program. But he says something simple: start with the end in mind. Think about the message you want to go. Then look through all the stories you've written down by going through your timeline and looking at all those points of conflict and all those great stories from your life about how you overcome difficulties that have got you to where you are, and have a look for the story that best fits the message you want to get across. What story have you got there that you can utilize there? So once you've got that, and you've started with the end, you've got your message, you've searched your timeline, you've searched for all those transitions in life, and you found the right points, because that's really what we want to hear. We want to hear how you overcame the challenges in life that got you to where you are. Because we're all facing challenges, and that's what we want. And that makes your whole speech unique, and it makes it engaging, makes it easy to talk. You don't have to worry too much about the performance skills if you've got a story about like your life that you're very passionate about. So then we've got to think about this. I've got this story, I've got this message, and I now need to think about engaging your emotions. Why would anybody care about this story? Why would anybody care about what I'm talking about? Well, it's mostly because there is a conflict, there is a challenge, there is a difficulty I'm facing. And you're going to relate that difficulty and how you overcame that challenge. And that's how you engage people's emotions. And finally, at the end of your story, you want to have a call to action. That brings you back to that message. What's the message of your story? Doug Stevenson calls it the phrase that pays. Have you got a simple line or a simple message that can get you, that people can remember at the end of your story? So this is the whole trick to great storytelling. Find fabulous stories in your life, and they don't have to be yours. You can use other people's as well, but mostly try and use your own, because they're the ones that you can engage with more effectively. They're the ones where you can relate to about the difficulties and the conflict that you had to face. And you can then bring that through to a message. What did you learn? What was the biggest learning point you got from that story? And relate that to the audience. And, that's how you're going to engage people. Look at your great stories, bring them into your talk, practice them, talk to your friends about them, practice them online. It doesn't matter if nobody's watching, just practice them online and keep on telling them, keep on getting those stories out. I'm going to concentrate for the rest of next week on I'm going to be trying to do some interviews during the week. I've got a few people who've said that they would love to be interviewed, so I'm going to try and get a few more people interviewed here. And I'm going to concentrate on looking at the model of the great talk show hosts and how they engage people. So I'm going to try and get people telling me their stories about their life and how they got where they are and what they've learned and what they can teach other people. So I hope that's helped you. Don't forget that if you want to get some practice putting your speeches online, get some feedback on your speaking, just join eSpeaker Live. I'm just asking people to join at the moment. Not much happening there, but there's a few people there. If you put a post up a speech, I will comment on it and we'll get things going on that. So come and join me. It's day 21. Tomorrow is day 21. That's 3 weeks. My goodness, 3 weeks of doing live streaming. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care.